Hare Krishna, welcome everyone to our Bhagavad Gita class. We will begin with the Mangalacharan prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tashmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamhyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Juta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Shagrajatam Shahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Shahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscham Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaura Tishe Namaha Panchatatvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhano Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye नीलाचल निवासाय नित्याय परमात्मने बलभद्रा सुभद्राभ्यां जगन्नाथाय ते नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा We are discussing the Bhagavad Gita chapter 15. In the chapter 15, we have completed up to verse number 15. So from 16 onwards, we will discuss today. The chapter 15 is called the Purushottam Yoga, Yoga of the Supreme Person. So we have seen that in the previous 14 chapters, so many different topics are discussed, and there are so many questions by Arjuna. The Supreme Lord is clarifying and giving answer to each and every question. Starting from the beginning, initially Arjuna was giving some counter arguments. So initially, Arjuna was also ordering Krishna. In the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita, if you see, Arjuna's mood is that Arjuna thinks Krishna to be his friend, and Arjuna is ordering, Senayor Uvayor Madhya Ratham Sthapayame Achyuta. O Achyuta, please place my chariot in between the two armies. I want to see who are there in both of the armies. And Krishna purposefully places the chariot in front of Bhishmadev and Dronacharya, so that Arjuna is overwhelmed with affection. And then Arjuna is giving so many different arguments not to fight. In the chapter 2, chapter 3, Krishna explained that these are your misconceptions. You have to execute your duty. You are a Kshatriya, and the duty of a Kshatriya is to establish religion. And for establishing religion, you have to annihilate the miscreants or those who are taking the side of adharma. Now, this is your dharma, even if this is unpleasant. Now, those adharmic people, they are your own family members. Therefore, you are hesitating to execute your duty. But no. Matra sparsastu kwanteya shitoshno sukha dukkhada agamo paino nittastam tatikshasho bharata. So, Krishna is giving example just like Shita Ushna Sukha Dukkha. Shita means winter, Ushna means summer, Sukha means happiness, Dukkha means distress. So these are the different dualities of this material world. Sometimes you will be happy and sometimes there will be pain. And there will be more pain than happiness. This is also mentioned in Bhagavad Gita that this material world is dukkhalaya mashashvatam. So Sita, Ushna, Sukha, Dukkha, summer, winter, happiness, distress will keep on coming. But you have to be, you have to tolerate them and you have to execute your duty. You should not be complacent in executing your duties. So as a Kshatriya, your duty is to establish religion by killing the miscreants. And even if they are your own family members who have taken the side of adharma, you have to kill them. So that is the teaching. And then Arjuna is worried about so many things, that what will happen if I kill them. I will incur sinful activities. They are my family members and therefore I am getting affectionate towards them. How can I kill them? And if I kill my family members, there will be no one left. Even if I win the battle, what will I do? With whom I will enjoy this success? People enjoy their success with the near and dear ones. If I kill all my relatives here, what will we do alone, even after winning the battle? And if I kill them, then their wives will be unprotected. Other men who are low class, they will exploit the women of the Kuru dynasty, and our dynasty will be polluted. The next generation will be polluted. So there are so many counter arguments Arjuna is giving in the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, because Arjuna is not aware about Krishna's position. Although Arjuna is a Nitya Siddha soul, eternal associate of the Supreme Lord, but here Krishna is covering Arjuna with Yogamaya, and therefore Arjuna is behaving like a normal person who is under illusion, and therefore Arjuna is asking so many questions. So in the initial chapters, Krishna first refutes all the arguments given by Arjuna in the second and third chapter by introducing the science of soul, by introducing the concept of different kinds of yogas like Karma Yoga, Sankhya Yoga, Buddhi Yoga, like that. And then other types of yogas like Jnana Yoga is discussed in the fourth chapter, Karma Sannyas Yoga in the fifth chapter, and then Ashtanga Yoga or Dhyana Yoga in the sixth chapter. At the end of the sixth chapter, Krishna says that Yoginam api sarvesham madgate antaratmanaha shraddhavan bhajate yomam samay yukta tamamata. That although I have discussed so many different types of yogas, what are these yogas? The yogas are basically ways to connect with the Supreme Lord. There are so many ways: Karma Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Sankhya Yoga. But out of them, Yoginam api sarvesham, out of all kinds of yogis, the yogi who is bhajate, Yoginam api sarvesham madgate nantaratmanaha shraddhavan bhajate yomam. Bhajate means one who does bhakti is the topmost yogi. He is most intimately connected with me. Then in the middle 6 chapters, 7 to 12, Krishna elaborates on this science of devotional service. So many different concepts again about Krishna's energies, about the pure devotees of Krishna, about the demigod worshippers, about the impersonalists, and how to remember Krishna at the time of death, how to practice this Krishna consciousness. So all these different things are discussed. And then in chapter 10, Krishna is also explaining different vibhutis. By knowing different opulences of Krishna, we can see Krishna everywhere around us. That will help us in remembering Krishna always and enhance our devotional service. In the chapter 11, the theoretical knowledge that is given in chapter 10 about Krishna's opulence is demonstrated practically by the universal form. Then in chapter 12, the devotional service is explained, and different qualities of a devotee which is very dear to the Lord. Those qualities are explained, and how impersonalism, what is the difference between impersonalism and Bhakti Yoga, and how Bhakti Yoga is superior, far, far superior than impersonalism. All those concepts are discussed. So first 6 chapters are discussing predominantly Karma Yoga and giving us a synopsis of all different kinds of yogas. The middle 6 chapters, 7 to 12, is giving us elaborate description about Bhakti Yoga, which is the core message of Bhagavad Gita. Now in 13 to 18, this is conclusion by Jnana Yoga. Chapter 13 discusses how Jiva, Ishvara, Prakriti, they are related. Chapter 14 describes the 3 modes of material nature about Prakriti in a more elaborated way. Now we are here in chapter 15. So chapter 14 discusses the 3 modes of material nature, Sattva, Raja, Tama, and how living entities are bound by the 3 modes of material nature and how to overcome the 3 modes of material nature. What is the solution Krishna gives at the end of the 14th chapter? Mam chayo abhyavicharena bhakti yogena shevate shagunan samatitaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. So by practicing devotional service, we can overcome the 3 modes of material nature. These 3 modes of material nature, this is a very interesting concept. And throughout Bhagavad Gita, this is one of the prominent concepts discussed in chapter 14, again comes in chapter 17, chapter 18, many times comes. So this is an interesting BBT painting, which is demonstrating what is meant by the 3 modes of material nature. So if you see in this picture, Krishna is at the top, and then there are 3 Devis, and these are the living entities, human beings, and there are ropes. Okay, so what is the meaning of this picture? So these 3 ladies, the Devis, it is called Maya Devi or Trigunatmika Maya. Maya Devi has 3 features, Sattva, Raja, and Tama. These are called 3 modes of material nature. Sattva means the mode of goodness, Raja means the mode of passion, and Tama means the mode of ignorance. And living entities are controlled by these 3 modes. Sometimes, if the string of mode of passion is if Maya Devi pulls the mode of passion string, then you will be affected by mode of passion. Then lusty desires will come, and then attraction to opposite sexual beings, and then what else? In Rajoguna, you are hyperactive, you are thinking less and working more, like that. And there is too much attachment to fruits of action. So these are the characteristics of mode of passion. Sometimes you are affected by the mode of goodness and you are happy, satisfied. People in mode of goodness generally prefer peaceful places like the forest and like the river bank, something like that. They like to meditate, they like to write poems, something like that. They are thoughtful persons. Peaceful, happy. Knowledge and happiness are the characteristics in mode of goodness. And sometimes we are affected by the mode of ignorance. We are feeling lazy, sleepy, and we are not getting interest in any kinds of activities. So that is mode of ignorance. So people are affected by these 3 modes of material nature. And therefore, we are not free. In the spiritual life, there is a concept called mukti. Mukti means liberation. So liberation from what? Sometimes people cannot understand. I am liberated only. Who has bound me? I am not bound. But actually, we are all bound. We cannot see that bondage. We are bound by the ropes, by these 3 modes of material nature. The 3 modes of material nature are controlling us. We are not free. Now, Krishna is called Gunadhish. Krishna is the controller of the 3 modes. What is the proof? Again in Bhagavad Gita. Mayadhakshena prakriti shuyate shacharacharam hetu nanena kvanteya jagat viparivartate. So Krishna is the controller of the 3 modes. If a living entity takes shelter of Krishna by devotional service, what is meant by devotional service? There are so many aspects of devotional service like Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padashevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dashyam. God is one aspect of devotional service. Reading this Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam and understanding them. Sometimes by reading these books, we cannot understand anything. So from qualified Vaishnavas who are coming in parampara. Like Srila Prabhupada comes in proper disciplic succession, and different ISKCON devotees and like senior Guru Maharajas and the disciples of Srila Prabhupada and current members of ISKCON, they are coming in the disciplic succession of Srila Prabhupada, and they have understood Bhagavad Gita as it is. Therefore, the Bhagavad Gita, which is like Srila Prabhupada commented, that is called Bhagavad Gita as it is. The as it is means as Krishna wanted to give us. Sometimes people mix their own opinions in explaining the verses of Bhagavad Gita. No, Bhagavad Gita in the Bhagavad Gita as it is, Srila Prabhupada writes Bhagavad Gita as per the mood of Krishna. So therefore, by reading this Bhagavad Gita, there is a revolution. There were so many different editions of Bhagavad Gita, and they did not affect much. But when Srila Prabhupada wrote this Bhagavad Gita as it is, in different countries, currently you can see in all countries, you will find ISKCON temples and you will find Krishna devotees. People are dedicating their whole life in devotional service of Krishna. And why they are dedicating their life? Because they are happy. In this material world, there is no happiness. At every step, you will be cheated. At every step, you will be miserable. That is the nature of this world. Dukkhalayam ashashvatam. But the purpose of Bhagavad Gita is, even amidst this world of dukkhalayam ashashvatam, how can you be happy? So Bhagavad Gita is that secret key. If you understand and internalize the teachings of Bhagavad Gita and implement in your life, then even amidst this dukkhalayam ashashvatam, this place of misery, you can be happy by taking the shelter of the Supreme Lord. So in this context of the three modes of material nature, because Krishna is the master of the three modes, if you take shelter of Krishna, you will be free from the effect of the modes. And then you are called liberated. And any times liberation means ananda or pleasure. If you keep a prisoner bound with ropes, will that person be happy? No. But if you liberate that person, the person will be happy. So liberation means happiness. Bondage means misery. So how to be liberated? Krishna is telling in different places. So in the 7th chapter also Krishna has spoken. Bhagavad Gita 7.14, Krishna says, Daivihi yesha gunamayi mama maya durattaya mameva ye prapadyante mayametam tarantite. The divine energy of mind, the Maya Shakti, consisting of the three modes of material nature, three gunatmika Maya, is very difficult to overcome. We cannot overcome Maya. We cannot overcome this strings of Sattva, Raja and Tama, as shown in that picture. But those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. So to become liberated, you have to surrender unto Krishna. Surrendering unto Krishna. So how to surrender? Immediate question comes. The answer is again given in Bhagavad Gita in two different places. 9.34 and 18.65. Both are the same verses. See, this is 9.34 and 18.65. So 9.34 says, Manmanabhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mame vaishyashi yuktaivam atmanam matparayana. This verse is so important that Krishna has repeated this verse again in the 18th chapter. Manmanabhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. First two lines are same. Mame vaishyashi satyamate pratijane priyoshime. So Krishna is telling, what is the meaning of surrender? In Bhagavad Gita, in different places, Krishna is telling, surrender unto me, surrender unto me. How to surrender to Krishna? So Krishna is telling, you have to just do 4 things. If you do these 4 things, that means you have surrendered unto me. What are those 4 things? Manmana. Always think of Krishna in your mind. In every activity, our meditation should be, I am doing this activity for the pleasure of Krishna. Like we are discussing Bhagavad Gita for the pleasure of Krishna. The first intention is obviously that to purify myself, I do not know anything about devotional service. So I want to know about Krishna, about devotional service. And because Krishna is the father and we are like the lost child, if the child is making an attempt to know about the father will be very happy. So our every endeavor, reading Bhagavad Gita, chanting the holy names, even while we are doing our job, our material duties, we should think, I am doing this for Krishna. I will earn some money, and with that money, I will worship the deity form of Krishna in my home nicely in an altar, and I will donate some of that Lakshmi in temple construction or distribution of Bhagavad Gita, something like that. So I am doing everything for Krishna. We should have that motivation, that meditation. Then we are considered a surrendered soul. That is the first criteria. Then Bhava Madbhakto, become my devotee. We have to become Krishna devotee. How? Associating with other devotees, keep contact with other devotees, chant the holy names, do Ekadashi Vrata, and read Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam. Whenever we get some holidays, we should plan for a trip to dhams, different dhams like Vrindavan, Mayapur, Jagannath Puri, like that. So this is called becoming a devotee. So Manmana Bhava, Manmana, and then Bhava Madbhakto. Third is Madjaji, worship Krishna. Every day in our home, we should worship Krishna by offering incenses, ghee lamp, flowers, like that. And Mam Namaskuru, every day we should bow down to Krishna. If we are doing these four things, that means we have taken shelter of Krishna. And another aspect, like in Srimad Bhagavatam and other literatures, it is told, taking shelter of Krishna means taking shelter of a Vaishnava. In Bhagavad Gita also that is there. Bhagavad Gita 4.34. Krishna says that if you want to truly know about me, what you should do? Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena shevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshina. You should surrender unto a tattvadarshi jnani who is knowledgeable about the science of Bhagavad Gita. Who will be knowledgeable about Bhagavad Gita? A devotee. Without being a devotee, you cannot be knowledgeable about Bhagavad Gita. So surrender unto a devotee. Pranipat means you have to surrender. Now one may question, what is the guarantee? What is the proof that only a devotee will be truly knowing about the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita? Again, Krishna says, in Bhagavad Gita, you will find answer to all questions. Bhagavad Gita 18.55. Krishna says, Bhaktyamam abhijanati javanjascha smitattvatam tatomam tattvato yatva vishate tadanantaram. Bhaktya abhijanati. Only by devotional service one can know Krishna as it is. One can understand me as I am, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, only by devotional service. So it is proven that only a devotee can understand the true meaning of Bhagavad Gita. So only a devotee is actually a Tattvadarshi Jnani Purush. So this is how we can see that in Bhagavad Gita, it's a wonderful literature. Within 700 verses, Krishna is giving all different secrets. How we are controlled by the three modes of material nature and how to get rid of the three modes of material nature. Everything Krishna is explaining. In one place, Arjuna is asking that what is the reason? Sometimes we know what is right, what is wrong, but yet somehow we are forced by some unknown forces to choose the wrong path. Although we know what is right, some unknown forces divert us from the path of righteousness and we choose the wrong one. So Arjuna is asking this question. This is probably in 3.36. Yes, Arjuna is asking this question. Atha keno prayuktoyam papam charati purusha anichannapi varsneya valadiva niyojita. Anichannapi, even if I am unwilling to go into the wrong path, some unknown forces is trying to divert me. Arjuna is asking Krishna, O descendant of Vrishni. So Krishna is one of the descendants of Vrishni. Vrishni is one of the ancestors of Krishna. By what one is compelled, one is impelled to sinful acts, even unwillingly, as if engaged by force. What is that factor which is forcing us to choose the wrong path, even when we know what is right? Very beautiful question. Sometimes it happens with us also. Krishna is answering, Kama esha krodha esha rajoguna samudbhava mahashano mahapapma vidyena miha vairinam. The Supreme Person of Godhead said, it is lust only, Arjuna, which is born of contact with the material mode of passion. Again, you see, the three modes of material nature is coming. This Rajogun is responsible for lusty desires. And lust or very strong material desire is called lust. If you have a very strong material desire, then you cannot see the truth. It will divert you. And later it will be transformed into wrath, which is all devouring sinful enemy of the world. So this is how Arjuna is asking question, Krishna is pointing out this is the problem, and Krishna also gives the solution in the subsequent verses. Now Krishna will explain about lust, and then finally after a few verses, Krishna is giving the solution. Therefore, O Arjuna, best of the Bharatas, in the beginning, curb this great symbol of sin lust by regulating the senses. Solution number 1, regulating the senses. And in ISKCON, Srila Prabhupada has given that. What is regulating the senses? No meat eating, no gambling, no intoxication, no illicit sex. These are the 4 regulative principles which ISKCON devotees should follow. And chanting the holy names. So this is called regulating the senses and slay this destroyer of knowledge and self-realization. So first step to overcome lust is regulating the senses. And then finally, Krishna gives another solution. Evam buddhe param buddhva samstavyam atmanam jahishatrum mahabaho kamarupam durashadam. Thus, knowing oneself to be transcendental to material senses, mind and intelligence, O mighty Arjuna, one should steady the mind by deliberate spiritual intelligence or Krishna consciousness. This is the final solution. That you have to practice Krishna consciousness and you have to increase your spiritual intelligence. How that happens? By reading Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam. Once we know what is right, what is wrong, our discriminative power will develop and our spiritual intelligence will develop. Then we can control these lusty desires. So this is how we have seen in previous chapters also. There are so many important concepts which are discussed, and in this chapter also, like chapter 15, we are seeing the description of spiritual and the material world and how jivas are transmigrating in this world. After death, the soul and the subtle body comes out of the body and as per karma takes another body. That is called transmigration of the jivas. And this transmigration will stop only when we understand that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. He is the ultimate maintainer. If we understand Krishna's position perfectly, then this transmigration will stop. So we have completed up to that section. Now let us read from verse number 16, where Krishna is called the essence of Veda and Vedanta. So in verse number 15, we have seen that Krishna is the source of everything, or Krishna is the source of all. Krishna is the object of all Vedas and Vedanta. So verse number 15 of the 15th chapter says, Sarvasya chaham mridishannivishto matta smritir jnanam apohanam cha vedaischa sarve rahameva vedyo vedanta kridveda videva chaham. Okay. Yeah, so 15th verse we have seen, where it is told that Krishna is the Paramatma in everyone's heart. I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. By all the Vedas, I am to be known. Indeed, I am the compiler of the Vedanta, and I am the knower of the Vedas. So, all the Vedas and Puranas, all the scriptural knowledge ultimately point you towards Krishna. If one is studying all the Vedas and he is not coming to the conclusion that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and I should do devotional service unto Krishna, then all the study of the Vedas are useless. The essence of the Vedas are Krishna is the Supreme Lord and we should be a devotee of Krishna. Even in other scriptures, Bhagavad Gita is spoken by Krishna. So someone might question that Krishna will obviously say that surrender unto me. But no, in other Puranas as well, like in Brahma Samhita, Brahmaji says, Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha. Krishna is the Supreme Lord. Lord Shiva is telling in Padma Puran, Aradhananam Sarvesham Vishnur Aradhanam Param Tasmat Paratanam Devi Tadiyanam Samarchanam. Among all the different kinds of worship, Vishnu's worship is topmost. When Parvati Devi is asking Lord Shiva that, O Shiva, people call you Devadi Dev, you are the Lord of the demigods. Still, you are always meditating. So, unto whom you are meditating always? Then Lord Shiva is telling, Rama Rameti Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Vistulyam Rama Nama Varanane. I always meditate on the form of Lord Ram and it gives me a lot of pleasure. And the Ram is same as Krishna. Ramachandra is same as Krishna Chandra. So this is how we can see Lord Shiva, Brahma, other demigods, they are not equal to the Supreme Lord. They are called Vaishnavas. They are devotees. In Srimad Bhagavatam it is written, Nimna Ganam Jatha Ganga Devanam Achyuto Jatha Vaishnavanam Jatha Shambhu Purananam Idam Tatha. Among all Vaishnavas, Lord Shiva is the topmost Vaishnava. Lord Shiva is the greatest devotee of the Lord. And what about Brahma and other demigods? Srimad Bhagavatam says, Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutastunvanti Divyaistaver Vedai Shangapada Kramopanishada Gayanti Yam Shamagam Dhyanavastita Tadgatena Manasa Pashyanti Yam Yogino Jashantam Navidusura Suragana Devaya Tashmai Namaham. So Brahma, Varuna, Indra, Rudra, Maruta, different demigods. What they are doing? Stunvanti Divyaistaver. By choicest poetry and exquisite slokas, they are glorifying Krishna. So this is how we must understand Krishna's position. Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. And this Bhagavad Gita is direct instruction of Krishna. If we just read this Bhagavad Gita and meditate on the instructions and try to apply this in our life will be successful. Our life will be filled with all auspiciousness, all negativity will go away. Such is the potency of this Bhagavad Gita. So text number 16 says, Dvau imau purushau loke sharaschakshara evacha shara sharvani bhutani kutasto kshara uchyate. There are two classes of beings, the fallible and the infallible. In material world, every living entity is fallible. In the spiritual world, every living being is called infallible. So there are two kinds of jivas, kshara and akshara. That is explained here. Like the eternal associates of the Lord who are in the spiritual world, like Mother Yashoda, Srimati Radharani, they can never fall down. Maya cannot capture them. But we who are in the material world, we are living entities whom Maya can capture. Okay. So we can be affected by Maya. But the eternal pure devotees who are associates of the Supreme Lord, who are in the spiritual world with Krishna, they will not be affected by Maya. And Akshara are those souls who are infallible in the spiritual world. And Kshara means those souls who are in the material world. And in material world means we are already affected by Maya. Therefore, we have come to this material world. So these are the two different kinds of jivas in spiritual world and material world. Uttama purushastvanya paramatmeti udaritam yo lokatrayama vishya vivarti avyaya ishvara. Beside these two, there is the greatest living personality, the Supreme Soul, the imperishable Lord Himself, who has entered the three worlds and is maintaining them. So there are two kinds of jivas. Jivas means part and parcel of Krishna. Krishna is the Supreme Lord, and Krishna's part and parcel are these jivas or living entities, like all of us. Our acharyas give a nice analogy to understand this. Krishna is like the sun, and the living entities are like the sun rays. So there are two kinds of living entities, Kshara and Akshara. Kshara are those living entities who are fallible, who can be affected by Maya. The word fallible means they can be affected by Maya. And infallible means Maya cannot touch them. So those souls are in the spiritual world, they are called Akshara. And those can be affected by Maya, they are called Kshara, they are in the material world. Okay. And besides these two kinds of jivas, there is the Supreme Lord, who is the maintainer of the jivas. So these are the elements of the entire creation. Two different kinds of jivas and the Supreme Lord Himself. Yashmat ksharam atitoham aksharat apichottama atoshmi loke vedecha prathita purushottama. Because I am transcendental, Krishna is telling, beyond both the fallible and the infallible, and because I am the greatest, I am celebrated both in this world and in the Vedas as the Supreme Person. So this verse reveals us why this chapter is named as the Yoga of the Supreme Person. Krishna is telling, I do not fall in the category of either Kshara or Akshara, Jivas. I am not a Jiva or living entity. I am the Lord of the Jivas. And I am the greatest. I am celebrated both in the world and in the Vedas as the Supreme Person. Someone might say here, Krishna is a proud fellow. Krishna is telling, I am the greatest. I am celebrated both in the world and in the Vedas. So why Krishna is doing that? Our acharyas give an example, like an analogy, that suppose someone is trying to find who is the prime minister, and he is interviewing different persons. Are you the prime minister? Are you the prime minister? Everyone is telling, no, I am not prime minister. And like this, the person finally reaches to the prime minister and asking that, are you the prime minister? So now if the prime minister says that, yes, I am the prime minister, is that his pride? No, he is telling the truth. The person is trying to search for the prime minister. And now the prime minister must clearly say that, yes, I am that person, you have reached, stop your search. So similarly, the jiva is confused, under illusion. Jiva is trying to find some solution in this material world. This is dukkhalayam asashvatam. Everywhere there is misery. How can I find happiness? I want to find God here. So in this search of the jiva, finally, if the jiva is fortunate enough, he opens Bhagavad Gita. And even after that highly fortunate condition, after a lot of fortune, you will be able to open Bhagavad Gita. Even opening Bhagavad Gita takes a lot of great fortune. And within Bhagavad Gita, if Krishna shows humility, no, actually, I am not the Supreme Lord, but you may consider me, something like that. If Krishna says, the jiva is further confused. So if the lost child comes to the father, are you my father? Father should say, yes, I am your father. I am the greatest. Therefore, Krishna is saying, I am that Lord whom you are searching for. I am that greatest Lord. So stop your search and just follow whatever I am saying. You will be happy. So this is why Krishna is telling the truth. Krishna is not expressing pride here. Yomamevam asammudo janati purushottamam sasarvavid bhajati mam sarvabhavena bharata. Whoever knows me as the Supreme Person of Godhead, without doubting, is the knower of everything. So, if we can understand that Krishna is the Supreme Person and we firmly believe that, then we have known everything. Then we have known the essence of everything. He therefore engages himself in full devotional service of me, O son of Bharata. Iti guhyatamam shastram idamuktam maya nagha etad buddhva buddhiman syat krita krityascha bharata. This is the most confidential part of Vedic scriptures. What is that most confidential part that we learned? Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. O sinless one, and it is disclosed now by me. Whoever understands this will become wise, and his endeavors will know perfection. So we have to understand that Krishna is the Supreme Person, and Krishna is always there for us. In every living entity, Krishna is personally present. We should not think that, oh, Krishna is God, Krishna is so busy, so many people are praying to Krishna, Krishna is very busy catering to their needs. No. Each one of us is having one personal copy of Krishna within us, very close to us, in our heart as Paramatma. Krishna is always there with us. But we have to turn towards Krishna. In Shetashvatara Upanishad, there is a beautiful verse which says, Shamana vrikshe purusho nimagno nisha yashochati muhyamanam justam jada pashyati annamisham asha mahimanam iti vita shokam. So in the same tree, there are two birds. One bird is called the living entity, another bird is called the Paramatma. The Paramatma bird is always watching on the living entity bird. So the living entity bird is trying out different fruits of the tree. Sometimes it is getting happiness, sometimes getting distress. But the Paramatma is always watching the living entity. And Paramatma is watching when this living entity is tired of trying out different material options and finally turns towards me to attain happiness. In this material world, there is no happiness. Paramatma is patiently observing that you keep on trying in this material world to find happiness. And in this material world, if we think that some object or some person will give us happiness, that is the greatest illusion. Nothing in this material world can give us happiness. Temporarily, initially, it may seem that these things will give me happiness. Suppose someone is thinking that if I buy a car, I will be happy. So the person is attached to a thing in this material world. But after buying the car, after a few years or after a few days only, he will understand that like this car is not giving me permanent happiness. And he is not anymore interested in that car. He needs something else, something like that. So nothing in this material world, neither any object nor any person can satisfy us. If we think that this person will make me happy, after a few days, it is guaranteed that the same person will devastate you. The same person will hurt your feelings. Or otherwise, another thing can happen. The person dies all of a sudden, leaves you. So the same person who is source of your happiness will one day be converted to the source of your misery. Either that person will cheat you or the person will leave you. This is the material world. So we should be prepared. We should not be attached to anything or anyone in this material world. If you be attached to that, then misery is confirmed. So if you touch the fire and then you want that I should not get burned, it will not happen. So Krishna is telling that again and again in Bhagavad Gita, that please do not touch the fire, because once you touch, I cannot help you from getting burned. So the thing is, we should be only attached towards Krishna, then we are safe. If we be attached to any thing or anyone in this material world, then there is problem. And therefore, the scriptures are telling Krishna is the supreme person. Krishna is your friend. Krishna is your best friend. Bhoktaram yagyatapasham sarvaloka maheshwaram shuhridam sarvabhutanam gyatmamam shantimichhati. And Krishna's manifestation is within devotees. So you can establish your relationship with Krishna and Vaishnavas. Then you will be happy in this world. How to establish a relationship with Krishna? First of all, we should have some deity in our home. If a home is not having some deity form of Krishna, then that home is useless. Sometimes the home is called Bhavan. In Hindi or in Bengali, home is called Bhavan. The Bha stands for Bhagavan. If Bhagavan is not there in some Bhavan, if you delete the Bha from Bhavan, what remains? It remains only one. One means forest, where different animals like tigers and lions, they are always fighting with each other. So there is no peace and happiness without the Supreme Lord. So we should have some deity form of the Lord, either in the form of laminations or in some deity form. And we should regularly worship, we should regularly serve that deity, we should regularly offer some bhoga to that deity. By doing all these things, we should sing some bhajan, we should read Bhagavad Gita, chant the holy names in front of the deity. Then we establish some relationship. We can give report to the deity that today I have done these services for you, and this problem is bothering me, and due to this problem I am not able to serve you well. Oh Lord, please help me. So this is how you should talk to the deity, and you should present your reports to the deity and serve the deity, and you will feel that your relationship with Krishna is developing. Then Krishna will also reciprocate with you. You will see that in different situations, Krishna is trying to tell you something through someone or by some event. Krishna will tell you, and you will be able to recognize that, oh, Krishna is trying to tell me this. So this is how in the initial phase, Krishna will talk with you. Another form is when Krishna is very much pleased with you, Krishna will send some Vaishnava. You will be given the association of a Vaishnava, a genuine Vaishnava from whom you are inspired. So you can also consult with that Vaishnava. Through the mouth of the Vaishnavas, Krishna speaks. So this is how we should serve Krishna and keep contact with Vaishnavas. We should do Sadhu Sangha. In this way, we can develop our relationship with Krishna, and we should not get attached to anything or anyone in this material world. We should recognize that Krishna is the supreme person. That is the essence of Bhagavad Gita. And that's what Krishna is teaching us through different chapters in different ways. So we have completed this 15th chapter today. We'll continue with the 16th chapter in the next class. Thank you very much, everyone, for patiently hearing this. Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaur Pramanande Hari Hari Bol. If you have any questions, we can take now. Any doubts or questions? Okay, so we'll continue next week with the 16th chapter. Thank you very much. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaur Pramanande Hari Hari Bol.